All right. Hello. Welcome to Arm Wrestling Showcase number 23. We've got some pretty cool guests with us today. We've got Ricky Ramos. All right. Hello. Welcome to Arm Wrestling Showcase. I've got some extra sound here.
Amateur.
It's the first time it's happened on this new computer. So as I was saying, we got Ricky Ramos back in the house to hang out with us, and we won't have Josh from Nowhere to Run Arm Wrestling. It sounds like there was some gnarly explosion up near his area where they lost their Wi-Fi. So maybe that'll be resolved. Maybe he'll pop on in. But we also have a very special guest. Mr. Adam Silver is in the house. What's up, Adam?
Yo, what's up?
Entertaining stuff, man. All right, so yeah, what's that thing like growing out right here?
I don't know what the hell that is. It's so weird.
Having a baby or what?
So they're growing that's a new muscle right there.
I don't know.
How do I get that? I need one of those.
All I do is arm wrestle. Once a week arm wrestle. I don't lift weights that much yet. Just starting to get into it here and there. It's weird. I don't know.
Very interesting.
You only pull once a week?
Yeah, sometimes more than once a week. I do. Sometimes I'll go around to the different clubs. I'll go to like Mendy's on Thursday and then come to Derek's on Sunday. Stuff like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's still once a week.
We're like pulling every day because of all the videos you guys pull out and everything, and I'm always seeing you guys everywhere. So it's like it seems like you guys are always on it. So
okay, so we kind of do like me and Larry. Larry shot a video with Chris Heria and Brandon Williams. So they're two big influencers. And actually, oddly enough, Brandon Williams likes to arm wrestle. He's a skinny guy, actually, and he's into calisthenics and stuff like that, but he's got a great following, big YouTube channel. And he trains with Alan Fisher sometimes.
What?
So I had to show him who's boss.
That's right. That's right.
So,
Yeah.
I love how Ricky asked, you only pull once a week? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, are we just older or what, Adam? I'm like, that's a lot. It's like, damn.
Yeah. How often do you pull, Ricky?
Honestly, whenever I can. Sometimes these days it's every day, or I mean, it could be a couple times a week, but bare minimum is once a week. That's
I could do every day. I have for whatever reason, my tendons don't hurt. So
yeah, like Krasimir, the way he does it every single day, I think that's the road to recovery right there. Just a little bit every day. I think you also develop faster like that. I think it would keep you from maxing out. So you'd have to obviously take time off, or the best way to get stronger is hit it super hard, then take a big amount of time off, just like a power lifter doing a power lift, right? Or anything like that. You want to do your big lift and then take time off, but to really balance it all out for people that aren't elite level, I think it's a good idea to pull a little bit every single day.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, for someone like you, Adam, when you practice, you go pretty hard, and it's mostly, I feel like you mostly work inside. So your elbows don't get trashed if you go every day.
No. So when I first started back arm wrestling a bit, so I took my story is that I arm wrestled in the 1990s. I had an injury in a car accident. I was a big bench presser back then. We can get into that in a little bit, but I stopped training completely for 24 years. And then a few years ago, because of health concerns, I actually started to work out again, and then ran into some other injuries outside of the gym, but injured my neck and stuff like that. But when I first started back a few years ago, it was almost like I restarted everything. It's not, after 24 years off, you don't have a muscle memory or anything like that. And certainly your tendons, I haven't touched any kind of arm wrestling since then, not even messing around a little bit. So I had to go through the pain that first 3 to 4 months. And then it started to adapt then, and then it stopped hurting. So I can go super hard, and I usually don't have any problem the next day for my tendons. Left-handed now.
Yeah, that sounds like muscle memory because a lot of people it takes us, like sometimes up to 2 years to get through that. So I mean, you're on the good side of that,
Yeah,
whatever
I
you're
was
doing it
lucky.
right.
I was pretty lucky because early on when I got into arm wrestling, it only took me like 6 months to adapt. I didn't have, and then I had no pain after that. Yeah, I was good.
Nice.
Yeah, I was lucky. Yeah, for sure.
Well, hello, Sarah. We got Sarah in the house. Sarah Latona.
Hey, Sarah.
You got some sound up?
I think they're connecting right now.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks like it's connecting.
take your time to pop in here. So Ricky, nothing yet. Sarah.
She's muted now. Now just unmute yourself, and you'll be okay.
Just scroll to
There you
it.
are.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Is it scratchy?
No, you sound good. All
Have a
right.
singing
I don't know
voice.
what's going on.
No, you sound fine. You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's your day going, Sarah?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I'm just waiting for Jason. He told me to get on, so.
Oh, cool. There's like a little delay going on.
A little bit, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you. We've got Benjimac in the house holding it down, moderating. What's up, Benji? We've got
Benji.
Trung, our teammate, is in the house. Yeah, he says he's the big Derek on our team.
Big Derek. Huge Derek.
Nice.
Yeah, Sarah, you might have one of the browsers open or something. Just turn the volume down on that. And perfect, we're good. We got Levi Rakowski in the house. What's up, Levi? Yeah, he's a very talented young puller. We had, I believe, on the youth episode that we did. And Levi, you've got a pretty big match coming up, don't you? That hasn't happened already. Let us know who that match is with. We've got none other than Don Mormon in the house. What's up, Don? Always fun to watch pull. Yeah, in terms of like people that I like watching pull at a tournament, it would probably be Don Mormon, Adam Silver. You're one of my new favorites, Adam. Yeah.
Okay.
And Martin Kemp. Yeah, you're a riot to watch arm wrestle.
Oh yeah, that's a solid list right there. That's a good list.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right.
And we got Atlantis IRL in the house. What's up, Atlantis? And now we have the one, the only Jason Latona is in the house with Sarah. What's up, Jason? Looking good. Man, I thought you were gonna wear that Boogie Nights wig, man.
I think they might be having some technical difficulties at the moment.
Yeah. So Ricky, in terms of like pulling every day, you're probably one of our most respected coaches on Alpha Empire. So when you are an advocate for pulling as much as possible, what do you think that should look like? I mean, are we going hard every day? Are we doing more mechanics certain days? Like how should that look?
No, not hard every day because you'll destroy yourself. Nobody goes hard every day because I mean, well, even if they do, they're going to be losing strength. It's like, it's like lifting hard every day. Some people can develop into it because of their, their genetic makeup. Some people are meant for that. But 99.99999% of us, no, that's no good. The best way to go about it is just for pure functionality, kind of like yoga. You can do yoga every day for the rest of your life, and you just keep getting better and better and better. Why? Because you're not really putting too much strain on the muscles. You're just making them realize, this is what we have to do, and it's going to keep happening. So get used to it. And the shock to the system, you want that. I would say at max once a week, 2 times a week. You're pushing it. You got to be really young or on some gear to be, doing that fluently and making progress with it. From what I've seen personally in my years, it's you have one of the 2 choices: be young or be on gear, and that's pretty much it. But as far as pulling often, just no straining, no nothing. Get close to the straining point, but just enough to, focus on body movement, like how I like going over it with you guys. Adjust your body to certain positions and your hands and your fingers, and more of a realization of your body and space, and how you can adjust yourself at the table than actual full on pulling.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when I think about it, you're very much that way at our big team practices.
Sorry, guys. My video's going crazy. Sorry, guys.
Oh, wow.
No, I don't.
Hey,
Doing that all by itself?
It was. Yeah, I need to fix it here. It'll take a second, I think, to reset it. But that's okay. Keep going.
But yeah, Ricky, like at practice, a lot of times it doesn't seem like you're going that hard. It seems like you've got a specific focus, which is, I think it's really cool. I think a lot of people kind of need to learn that, including myself. It's a humble way of doing it, because at practice you're practicing what you want to practice on, and the mechanics and everything. And when you show up to a tournament, just like this last tournament, you show up ready. And while you were busy beating up on me at that tournament, the one thing I noticed where all that frequent table time can really come into play, it makes me think you and your the person you mentored, EP, you guys are very, very frustrating to pull. Alan Fisher has this same thing. What you guys all have in common, I feel like, is an intuition. Really, really good. Just response in the setup. It's almost impossible to trick you or adjust without you, feeling or knowing how to counter it. So,
yeah, that's my main focus. Is like I say to everybody, I gotta outsmart my opponent. They can be way stronger than me. I'm fine with that. I'm fine to losing to someone that's way stronger than me, but outsmarting me, that's not going to happen. So, I mean, if anything, if there is one person who it's like art when we're on the table, it's Alan Fisher, because he's the only person, and you could say I'm cocky or whatever. Like, I'll say there's a billion people that could beat me. I don't care about that. But when it comes to smarts and intuition on the table, like you say, Alan Fisher is like, he's still, up there for me. And like just the smallest little movements for hand in the setup before we even fully get set up, the smallest little adjustments make the win. And he's got to me when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Very cool. Yep.
Yeah.
I think we're here. We here? Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear us? Oh, okay, good.
You guys are in.
Sounding good, looking good. How are things going down in Vegas? How you guys doing?
We literally both just stopped working 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So,
okay. All right. Yeah.
No, I was on since the beginning, so I was just watching. I was listening to what you guys were saying and everything. As far as I saw Adams, I think it was a muscle he was showing. I'm not too sure. I couldn't really tell. My vision's not as good as it used to be. It looked like, I think it was a muscle, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe I've been over to he was flexing. I knew he needed prayer. No. On the real, I just to say, hey, thanks for having us on real quick. And it was great seeing all of you gentlemen over the weekend over in Victorville. Really nice to get on the table with you guys and talk to you and everything like that. So yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. It was good to have you in town. We appreciate every time you guys are around, because you guys are good people. So and you guys are obscenely strong. So that's plus.
Yeah. And it's funny, my input real quick, I'm gonna backtrack if I can. You're talking about table and this and frequency and everything like that. I think that's all on a person to person basis. I think for me, the problem is in our sport is that it's just like anything, any sport. People are often influenced by the biggest personalities. And if I said to everybody, hey, who's the most polarizing, the number one guy in arm wrestling, I'm pretty sure if we all put a piece of paper and held it up, it would all say Devin Larry, right? It would all say Devin. And I love Devin, and Devin's a friend, but I think people that train like Devin are insane. is because in John Brzenk, Todd Hutchins, these guys are anomalies that have been doing this sport for a long, long time. And when you try to model this, can we get rid of that? When you try to model this this sport or the way you train after another person that has a totally different prequel history than you, and then they have totally different arm lengths, leverages, all these kind of things. It doesn't make much sense to emulate your, if you agree, I don't know. I mean, that's another conversation, but is arm wrestling a strength or combat sport? I think it's I find it to be more of a combat sport than a pure strength sport, because again, you're going one-on-one against another person. Strength sport might mean, by definition, of I'm lifting inanimate objects and competing against a person that way. But it would be like if you compare MMA. I wouldn't model with me and Ricky. Actually, Adam, Kane, you're the only tall bastard amongst all of us. But guys like Ricky, Adam, and I, if we try to emulate like a fighting style after a guy like John Jones, who has 84-inch reach and he can just jab you and stuff like that, it's. I think you're going to be disappointed with your results. Kane, you can probably do that because you got that long lever, you got that thing. And, when we hear these guys like John Brzenk that was like, oh, I just arm wrestle once a week, and like Adam's saying that now, I arm wrestle a couple times a week, or Ricky, I arm wrestle every day. Well, the thing is, the problem in my perspective with that is you have no gauge of your strength, because if I pull Ricky and on a Wednesday and he just did max effort training or pull really hard on Sunday, I may feel really, really strong, or vice versa, pull Adam or any of you guys. And then a week later, reverse the situation where I'm, really fatigued and you guys are, and then I'm just getting crushed, and you can get really emotionally damaged. You know what I'm saying? And, all of us men, and I'm sure some of the females too, we have frail egos when it comes to these kind of things. And it legitimately is a very difficult thing to manage, and so for me, like Sarah and I, I'll get shut the fuck up after this, but Sarah and I's training program is basically, we do 3 days of arm wrestling specific strength or arm wrestling specific workouts. We have 2 table sessions, minimum a week. And then on top of that, then we have 2 to 3 general strength training. And I'm bringing this up because I know that's what you said was the subject of the header. 2 to 3 general strength days a week. Now, does this work for everybody? I don't know, but I know this. In the gym, the lifts that I track, if I have a really hard practice, for instance, on this Saturday in Victorville, everybody's pulling on my arm. I come into the gym on Monday for my normal arm wrestling style workout, and my goal is every workout to improve, whether a rep, a pound, or whatever it is. I'm constantly improving workout to workout. But if I have damage like I had from just holding people, and Sarah and I got there and about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I started arm wrestling people as soon as we got there, like the randoms that were there. Hey, before the minute you get it, and I was just letting people tee off on my arm, at that point. So by the time we get to 8, 9 o'clock at night, I've eaten and everything like that, I'm quite fatigued. My arm, my bicep, pronator sore. I go to the gym now. I have a number written down on every single lift that I do for my arm wrestling specific stuff, and that number will not go up that day. So most of the time, it's almost like a missed workout for me. I grade every one of my workouts from a scale of 1 to 10. 1 meaning or 0 meaning is a missed workout. 10, I hit PRs or time or whatever it is on every single workout I've done. So, and you can tell me to shut the fuck up, Kane, at any time. But the thing is I think the problem in our sport is we have people grasping at this guy knows what I'm doing. That guy, that's it. That's my style. This one, because Devin's doing now this lift, and Todd Hutchins is doing this, and and Giannis is doing this or whatever, and all these guys. But the reality is that's all based on their genetic makeup, their time in, they're all these different freaking things. And not that I have it right. I don't, but I know this. I'm getting the gap between guys like Ricky when I first met him and all these certain people. I've gotten quite strong. Sarah is my protege. I'm 47. I'm retired. Only Adam is older than me. I can't even believe he knows how about technology and it's past his bedtime. But for me, my goal is to train her to be the best female in the country and at her respective weight class. And everyone, that's why I want to take it off me, but everyone who pulls with Sarah goes, okay, what are you doing? And so I know it's working. And, Leanne Wilson, with all due respect, that's our goal. She's the bar. She's the best. She's the best female to me in the country. It's under 154 pounds. And so that's the goal. And we love Leanne and Ben but
she's one of my closest friends.
And we're always, and we're all rooting for each other.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think it's such a answer that's so it's such a like vague thing that with which is the best way to train. You know what I'm saying? It's like what's the best cologne? I can put a cologne on and you'd be like, damn, dude, you smell amazing. You put that same thing on, you're like, dude, what the fuck? Who shit? You know what I mean? Like because of body chemistry. So I don't think anyone's right or wrong per se. But what I would say is the biggest, I think, mistake I see people making, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, but a very, 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 very smart European arm wrestler said something to me, and I was like, yep, that's it. He said this one thing. He said, Americans use the table to get stronger. We don't. And I go, that changed everything for me. Mm-hmm. And the problem with our sport is table time is the most fun thing. I would rather arm wrestle than lift fucking weights easily. But if you want to get great at the sport, you have to know how to not arm wrestle or how to pause your love for arm wrestling. And I know that's going to sound crazy to some people, but I'm just telling you, you can't recover from even one. If you're the strongest guy, if you're John Brasink, you can train you can pull hard once a week because no one else is as strong as you. If you are not the top tier guy in your group, I think the less you train on the table, again, once you know how to arm wrestle, and you put that focus in the gym, that's where you get your results. So that is all a bunch of food for thought. You can all think I'm crazy.
Jesus, that took a long time to say all that.
I know. I'm so sorry. I wanted to see if you could. I wanted to see what your threshold was, Adam, before you passed out.
Yeah.
No, that was very, very good stuff. I love hearing that perspective. It adds a little bit of contrast to our previous discussion, I think. I think that's a good point to start digging into our main topic. Just real briefly, I'm going to catch up on the chat. We did have Benjimac, our moderator, post in the chat the Brandon Allen arm fight matches. Looks like Benji put together the videos for that, so everybody go check that out. The link is in the chat. We've got Paul Stevens in the house. What's up, Paul? Always good to have you.
Paul, beast.
And we got
John to flip this script and challenge Brandon again, but he comes in at like 425.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
Outweigh Brandon by like 70, 80 pounds. You know what I mean? That's what he needs to do. Fuck Brandon Allen. Fuck that guy.
Exactly.
All right.
He's a fucking cheater.
Johnny Dang in the house saying Alpha Empire versus everybody.
That's right.
What do you think, Ricky? We kind of took those podiums for the 185s, huh?
Man, we've been doing
Alpha Empire kind of night.
As soon as you see the black shirts in there, just get your money back and just walk away. That's simple.
Right on. Yeah. And Johnny Dang was feeling real good last practice. He's making really big strides in the sport. So I'm real happy for you, Johnny.
Yeah.
And Adam, real quick, did I hear Adam say you guys do weekly or you try to make every Sunday at Derek's?
I do. Yep.
Oh, okay.
just about. Sometimes I'll go around to some of the other clubs because I just want to mess around with other people. And I'm not like one of those people that's like, oh, it's an hour to drive somewhere. Oh my God, I can't go over there. That's too far. Or an hour and a half or 2 hours. I'll drive 3 hours if I want to.
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm the one, the complaining one. I'm saying I'm the one that.
Oh, the complaining one.
Yeah,
a little bitch.
If it's more than 7 minutes, like I'm just like, really 7 fucking. God damn it! I got a cat. I got a bunch of fish.
Oh, a cat.
Yeah.
Kane's got babies. I got a cat.
Right.
My wife has to take care of me. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she just comes along with me. So we got Paul saying in response to you, how about just a 20-pound difference rather than a 70-pound difference?
I'll take it.
All right. Put on that weight. Let's run it again. So yeah, you're incredibly active, especially with our team, Adam. It's been good to see you pulling so much. And this last tournament you pulled in, it was the first time I'd gotten to see you pull a tournament in person.
That was fun.
How many tournaments have you pulled since you've been back into the sport?
It's been 3, and I just randomly do stuff. So the first one I did was Mexico when Larry went to the international competition there, just for fun, of course. I won a couple matches. I was really shocked because I'm pretty fat. I'm 245 pounds. So with the strength of somebody that's like in the like 170 something weight class, 180 something maybe. So that surprised me.
In the height of like a 130 guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
So
basically.
you got a lot going against you.
So it fucking sucks. Yeah. I was gonna say something really bad, and I don't know. I can't say it on here. But I do have a huge cock. Anyway.
Oh man.
We can't hear you, Jason, or I can't hear you very well.
I must be coming through your.
There we go.
headphone
Oh, there you
Yeah, that was it.
Sarah's all right. My buddy Lynn Walter texted me a photo of you two.
Yeah.
He said you were managing this for a while. Was he? I had no idea. It's like a small world then.
Yeah, I owned a talent management company for 16 years in New York City.
Yeah.
I worked with male and female models, athletes. They were mostly athletes. Obviously, Lynn was a bodybuilder, so. And I had a bodybuilding division. I was Brandon Curry's manager, who's for 12 years. Started Greg Plitt's career. That was
showing Sarah the picture
many years ago.
What? I know who Brandon Curry is.
Yeah,
Lynn Walter. Lynn,
I know him.
Yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, we were talking about something at Alpha. What were we talking about? He asked me
Tournaments.
Oh, the tournaments. Yes. So I did the Mexicali. Then next was Arizona State. Larry competed at that, so I did that as well. And I won a couple matches there again, which was pretty cool. And then this competition with Brandon Allen, Larry and I shoot stuff during the daytime, so I assumed that I wasn't going to be able to make it. So I went to Mendy's on Thursday, full with the Armenians, and I went full redlining, really hard, and it was a very tough practice. And then realized that Larry had to be at this event where Brandon was having the competition at 6 p.m. So I was like, oh, that's so strange. And then realized that the competition was at 6 p.m. at night. So I was like, I guess I can do it. So I decided, even though I pulled really hard on Thursday, I'd just go ahead and do it and have fun. I don't care whether I win or lose right now. It's not that important. It's just the fun of it and kind of getting back into competition, getting the experience again, because I'm relearning arm wrestling. Even though I did it for 7 years in the 90s, we did things differently back then. And I also pulled a lot differently because my strength level was so much stronger than I am now, like way above. I was an elite level bench presser back then. And so for my body weight, I was extremely strong. Yeah, it was
You still are.
Not quite that much. Thanks for saying that, but I was even when I was very light, when I first started arm wrestling, I was already benching 4 plates and I only weighed 161. So that's very unusual. Yeah. Then I got up to a few years later, I got up to 455 at 174. and I was still drug free at that point. And then I went on to a couple cycles, and I got up to 507 at 181 bench press. You know, I had no legs, 0 legs. I didn't train legs, so.
That's arm wrestling physique right there. You're good.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
if you add up all the times I bench pressed in the last 6 years, it's not 571. Like if you add up every bit of weight I ever bench, it's still not 571. So that's really impressive. Yeah.
Right there.
It's actually 507, just so you.
Oh shit. But sorry, 507. But still, it's not that much either. Yeah. It's not that much either.
Yeah.
So I think this group that we have here, the 4 of you, it's perfect for the main topic that we have. And the main topic tonight is, so how does arm wrestling training fit into general fitness and strength training? Basically, does it help your fitness goals and strength training? Does it hinder? And everything in between. So Jason, you've already kind of, I feel like, jumped into a little bit of that. And you guys are a great dynamic to add to this, Jason and Sarah. Pretty much what you guys are doing for work. And I know at least you, Sarah, you're like a nutritionist and what is it, a manager at a gym?
Jason is a nutritionist, personal trainer as well. But yeah, I'm a general manager of Sin City Iron here in Vegas.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, you guys are heavily into fitness and general fitness, nutrition.
There's dick in your mouth. Sorry. Adam said cock already, so I really
it's that kind of show.
Yeah.
All right.
That kind.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah,
My mom's probably watching.
But yes.
Actually, my mom told me that, Jay.
Yes, that's basically our lives is that.
Okay. And having Adam Silver on the call, we've got powerlifting in your background. You were bench pressing trucks and stuff like that.
I was working as an athletic trainer at University of Maryland. So my degree is in kinesiology, and I completed half my master's in exercise physiology at Kent State, but I didn't finish it. I had to actually make money, so I had to get to the real world. So yeah, a
lot of people know you as a videographer, recently cinematographer. You manage and do videography for Larry Wills, co-founder King of the Table. A lot of big accolades for you. But specifically for tonight in this topic, I love that you were very big into power lifting. And you've had some time off. You've suffered some severe injuries, it sounds like, and you just got back recently and are hitting the table pretty hard. So that's a very interesting dynamic to add to this. And then we have Mr. Pretty Ricky over here, who's one of our Alpha Empire coaches, who's primarily table time. And I'd say the one thing that we do have in common is definitely not time in the sport, but when it comes to this subject, Ricky, you're also a tradesman. You do a lot of manual labor each day, right?
Yes, sir.
That changes things. So yeah, and a lot of people in this sport, they are manual labor workers. And so your training might look different if, Sunday you had a nice 5-hour hard practice and the next day you're going to install drywall, or do masonry work or something like that. It's a little different.
Absolutely.
So let's start with Adam. So I'm really interested, after having such a powerlifting and strength, general strength sport foundation, having these injuries and everything like that, and having to fit arm wrestling now into your lifestyle and everything. Can you tell us about how this arm wrestling journey has been coming back in, what you might have suffered from, and how you feel like it has fit into your general fitness?
The funny thing is that I think Larry would tell you the same thing. and sometimes happens to him, but I get injured more outside of the gym than I do inside the gym. So I did have some shoulder issues when I was younger because I was bench pressing 3 times a week when I first started training at 18. Wow. So yeah, which is terrible to do, but I was such a good bench presser. So I do it 3 times a week. I got up to 4 plates, 161 by the time I was 20. And the thing is now that I'm back into all this stuff again, I had a couple shoulder injuries from doing all the training and not like balancing out my back and my rear delts and stuff like that. So I had some shoulder instability issues. But my big thing that happened when I was young was that I had a car accident when I was around 26 or 24. I flipped over a car on the highway and it did something to my neck, but I didn't know about it until a couple years later when I started to get weakness in my left arm and had to have surgery for my cervical spine because I had a bone spur. So I did fix that, got it fixed, got back into training super quick, re-injured my neck in the gym that time, and had some nerve damage to my right tricep. So I stopped working out completely, got very depressed, took the 24 years off, started back again. I was getting back into the gym a few years ago, and then I'm on an ATV in the desert with Larry, his mom, and some other people. I flip over my ATV and it rolls on top of me, of course. And I tear my infraspinatus muscle from the bone and re-injured my neck and had to have another surgery on my neck because I had nerve damage to my left bicep. Fucking mess, it's just terrible. But the whole point is that getting back into the gym, working out, I do feel much better, healthier. It's helped my diabetes, which I developed because I got so fat. Now that I'm like taking the arm wrestling thing a little bit more seriously and trying to work out in the gym, it fits in really well to, my goals right now, which is to get back into competition, but also be healthy at the same time. So I'm doing just general weight training workouts right now. I haven't done all the specific, you got to work on your pronation. And I haven't done that yet because I've only been training like in the gym for, I would say about 9 weeks now. And it's just it's still sporadic, doing some bench presses back, doing dumbbell rows, things like that, curls. I started integrating a little bit of some specific stuff. I'm doing rice bucket work for some recovery. I am doing a little bit of, using some of the arm wrestling attachments to go ahead and develop some more strength because I'm definitely lacking strength, my hand and stuff like that I need to really build up. So
the biggest thing I'm getting from this, Adam, is you should definitely keep arm wrestling and lifting weights, but you should just stop doing everything else.
Exactly. Don't try
activities.
Yeah.
Nothing with wheels.
Nothing with wheels.
Right. Well, this time I got a Tesla so it could drive itself, and I don't even have to drive now. So.
I was going to say that the biggest thing I got out of this was we all need to pitch in and just make sure Adam gets Ubers anytime he's near competition. Just Uber everywhere. Make sure this guy can die. Or don't get in the car with him if you got a competition coming up. You get fucking car
That's right.
on top of you.
Exactly. Fuck.
Jesus.
Crazy.
But I mean, in general, that's really it's really good to hear for somebody that's in a situation of disrepair where arm wrestling training has actually been a benefit. It's
for sure.
That's how it's working out for you.
Yeah.
I can relate to that a little bit myself. I was just starting to try and get healthy when I got into this sport 4 years ago. But I mean, for a 6'2" guy, I was maybe like 140 pounds at best.
God, skinny.
Yeah, skinny.
Jesus.
I came from a music background.
That's how much I weigh.
Yeah. I was just a gutter punk. But when I yeah.
No, I weigh like 138.
But after coming to the first Alpha Empire practice, it probably took 2 months for me to put on like 20 pounds. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I think it wasn't just the arm wrestling specifically, but the community is really awesome. And there's something that can flip, like a switch that can flip in a lot of people that really get turned on by the sport. So it might look different for different people, but I think part of it for me in terms of the weight was the recovery time after like a really good training. I can't get satiated. Like I'm so hungry, like for maybe like 3 days straight. I actually have to like be careful that I don't eat and drink myself sick, because it's just it's hard for me to feel like I'm getting enough nutrition in when I'm really depleted after good arm wrestling training.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ricky, in terms of your background in strength sports and your primarily table time way of training, it seems like, what are your perspectives on this subject?
Oh man, I've pretty much been there, done that. I started off when I was a kid playing sports from the time I was 5 years old to 15. And that was year-round: baseball, football, soccer, everything. I think that kind of helped with my natural strength that I just constantly just have, because most people know I don't do any actual gym training, like really ever. If anything, I'll move some stuff around the house, but like I'm very big on moving low weight, just infinitely, constantly, because I feel like I like going hard on Sundays. So like, don't get me wrong, if I'm doing some arm wrestling or something here, like if it's every day, it's like pulling just really softly. Like I said, it's not like never anywhere where I'm straining, like not even 1%. It's just putting a little tension, just a tiny little tension, the same kind of tension on like pulling a hard door, but on the table, something like that. But yeah, most of my strength comes from working construction. I do heavy highways, so I build freeways, bridges, stuff like that. High rises, parking structures, stuff like that. But when it comes to practice, that's where I get a lot of my training in. That's where I button down. I'll be having a cool conversation here and there, but for the most part, like you said earlier, you could see I'm focused, because that's when everything kind of matters. It's practice. It's not called arm wrestling hangout, even though 99% of people go to hang out. It's practice for me. I'm practicing what I'm going to use when it comes to the tournament. So that's why I like to do all my stuff there. But lifting, I do every single thing, pronation, supination, everything. And it's mainly at home with bands, but it's to the point where my arms and fingers go numb, because I work on everything. I work on my pinky, I work on my, ring and pointer and middle finger with like really small bands, like even rubber bands. I'll stretch them away from themselves, stuff like that. Then like wrist stuff. But I mean, 5-10 pounds just endlessly, because I want to heal myself, get the blood flowing constantly while I'm eating or after I ate, and just get my body ready for Sunday or tournaments, whenever I'm going to put some real strain on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me, because when it comes to weights, few and rare do I ever touch a weight. That's why, I mean, if you're talking about bicep curl, I can maybe curl like 40 if I'm lucky. And that's just dead honest. Like I could maybe bench press like one plate on each side. I'm on the table, I'm different though. But when it comes to weights, yeah, I have nothing for weights.
Yeah, this is a perfect example. And this is why you guys are such a great mix here. So pretty much everything I'm hearing about your training, Ricky, is 100% arm wrestling specific. Which also does kind of solidify what you were saying earlier, Jason, because he's not so much, that there's no room for him to add in that general fitness, weight training, lifting, and everything like that. Because from how it sounds, your focus is on the table, Ricky, and anything that you're doing at home is arm wrestling specific, and it sounds very recovery based.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be for what I do, my line of work. I can't be going to work, if my elbow's hurting or anything like that. So immediately after practice, I'm focused on healing overnight, because the following day I have work. So, and that my work is, I wish I was at a desk or something like that, but it's, lifting, moving, twisting. And that may be where, some of my strength still comes from, because I mean, there's heavy objects and twisting and all that kind of stuff that still goes on. So it may come from there as well. It's a big plethora of things, but yeah, I really focus on everything, even at work. All my movements, I like imagine myself at the table, doing like little things, or bending rebar, swinging my hammer, whatever it may be. I'm like thinking arm wrestling. I'm not trying to be a world champion, but I absolutely like arm wrestling is my drug. I love it. I will never stop. Will I ever be great or amazing? Probably like 1% chance. But while I'm here, I'm having an amazing time, and that's why I coach. I want to share that with everybody, and I figure that's my purpose.
Awesome. I love it. And I think I have a decent segue for this that I want to move over to Jason and Sarah on. Just a real quick hello to Grace in the chat. We got Grace Bear in the chat. We always love having you. Grace has a big match coming up with Haley in December. What's her last name, Sarah? Haley's
last name?
Johnson.
Johnson?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I heard she's pretty strong, so that's going to be a good one. Yeah, I love all Grace's matches. She's a great arm wrestler and a really cool person. So we've also got the schmo in the house saying Adam Silver is strong as poop. Strong as shit. Okay, right. Folks forget about what a freak he used to be on bench, and he still has serious power. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, I love that. Oh, and also what's up to Carolyn Loomis? She asked a question about the top secret subject, Adam Silver, which we can't talk about right now, Carolyn, but we love you and we're glad to have you in here.
Yeah.
Power. All right. Power, that word right there. Yeah, I think this is a perfect segue. So even if you are somebody that is primarily, if your fitness journey is primarily focused in arm wrestling training because you don't see it being too cohesive with maybe general fitness or weightlifting, weight training and stuff, there's a lot of people that believe that at some point, if you're at a certain level with arm wrestling, maybe your table IQ is really good, maybe your tendons are very conditioned, your joints are very conditioned. To make that next step, you've got to stack power into the equation. And that training might have to look different for some of these people, where they need to start building a little bit more power on the table. Does that mean for them that their table time or frequency needs to be reduced? Could you be like a 1 time a week table practice kind of puller? And do you need to reduce it to like maybe 1 or 2 a month so that you can meet all your PR goals in the gym to start doing heavy lifts? So I'm going to move that question and subject matter over to Jason and Sarah. What do you guys think about that? Adding power to your arm wrestling journey.
Well, all of this stuff, again, to me is my background real quick. A lot of people don't know. I was a kid martial artist. My father was had his own martial arts school. I was a traditional martial artist for my entire life until I turned 18 years. I got into jiu-jitsu about 17. I finagled my way with my martial arts skills to become one of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I was on the television and movie show from 96 to 2001. I worked for Saban Entertainment, who produced the Power Rangers. So I did the Power Rangers. I was a stunt guy for Power Rangers, Beetleborgs, and the Ninja Turtles. After that, I because of these people I met and everything like that, and that's why I moved to Vegas. I worked for the circus. I was a circus acrobat. I moved to Vegas because I was hired to be in the Mystère show at Cirque du Soleil, doing hand balancing. So I did a hand balancing act. Like Adam, I didn't roll vehicles over or anything like that, but I started, and I'm from Pittsburgh, so my grandparents were both steel workers. I got into arm wrestling because my grandmother was like strong as fuck. She used to spool steel. And my first job, I was 16 years old. My friend had his dad owned an industrial roofing company. So I did roofing over the summers starting at age 16. So I would just carry 5-gallon drums, with the spinning handles. And I remember going into high school and arm wrestling people, and just because it's fun, we just do it, sitting across the lunch table or whatever. And I remember I was very not like I am now. I was very shy, very, very introverted in high school and everything like that, all through school. And I remember arm wrestling like big guys, like a guy specifically. I remember a guy's Harry Delano. He was a football player, and he was like in front of everybody, and he was like turning purple, like arm wrestling me. And I thought I was like being trolled, and I almost wanted to cry because I thought they were making fun of me. And meanwhile, he couldn't beat me. I couldn't pin him, but he couldn't take my arm past here. And all these guys were trying, and I didn't know. And then so 1994, I moved down to Orlando. 2001, I ended up finding out that there was, there's the internet at this time. And so my very first arm wrestling tournament was in 2001. I became a Florida State champ from 2001, 2002, and 2003. And I was moving on to do nationals. My dad got sick, passed away in 2004. I wasn't training arm wrestling. I was still balancing between arm wrestling and my circus, my hand balancing act. And one day in my act, I fell. And it was because hand balancing your arms like this. In arm wrestling, I'm doing everything like this. So I was losing my mobility in my right hand. So I remember telling my directors I felt sick, I had vertigo, and reality is I was fucking arm wrestling. So I was either like, do I keep touring? I was touring at the time with Cirque. Do I tour with Cirque and, make money? I was making really good money a day. Or win fucking t-shirts, and trophies. So I was retarded, and I struck with Cirque du Soleil. So I took 17 years away from the sport when I came back 5 years ago. So when you I like Ricky, I could say I kind of been there, done that as far as training with Cirque du Soleil and their way they trained and everything like that, and understanding joints and tendons and things from physiotherapy and all these kind of things. But what it did teach me was the importance of the kinetic chain. And it's a very simple analogy. Everyone always uses it. But if I said to you, if I handed you a chain that you guys are more, I look like I'm a guy, but you guys are more guy than me. Not you, Adam. You're gay like me.
Oh my God. You're such a bitch.
Ricky and Kane fucking live in the mountains and right. bend pipes and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, me and Adam, we're like more beachy guys with beards. But if I said to you, if I handed you a chain and I said we gotta put the chain to the back of this pickup truck or whatever and haul this thing, and I just said a very simple question: which link in this chain is the most important? What's the answer? They're all exactly the same level of importance. The one in the middle, you can't move it around, you can't finagle it. Every link is the most important link. Like our bodies, every link of what we're doing is so as cliche as it is, you're only strongest as your weakest link. That had always been my approach in arm wrestling. Going, well, it doesn't matter how strong my hand is if my arm goes like this. It doesn't matter how strong my arm is if my wrist goes like this. It doesn't matter how strong both this are if my chest goes like this. So it was always training everything part and parcel, but still understanding how the entire chain, my kinetic chain of my body, goes together. One thing I have to learn from hand balancing is when I would teach people how to do hand balancing, handstands, and they would say, well, what does it feel like? I'd lay them on the ground and I show them the position and I put their body in a position, almost like like a hollow body position. If you're laying down, so you're kind of like this, your feet are here, you're hollow body. And even holding that like that for a few seconds, most people start shaking and their abs start shaking, their butt starts shaking, everything's shaking. Because if your toes aren't fucking squeezed and your asshole's not squeezed and your stomach's not squeezed, there's no way in shit you're going to be able to hold yourself in a handstand, yet alone when someone else is manipulating you. I was the flyer, so I was the guy that was on top, and the base guy would lift me. There's no way and that you can hold that without understanding the importance of kinetic chain. The other thing I learned in circus, and this is real important, I believe this, is there's an 11-week adaptation period, usually between 8 and 11 weeks, where you can overload yourself and you'll start to get like negative feedback as far as for instance, you arm wrestle. And I am doing this day one. Week 2, I'll start to get weaker. Most people at that point take a break because they're like, I'm too sore. I got to let my muscles heal. But what they don't understand is, and you can, hey, there's so many different things I could cite you as far as like medical journals and scientific things. But around the 10 to 11 week marker, there's a bell curve where it drops down and all of a sudden you level out and then you start progressing and nothing's changed. You didn't take breaks. Let me ask you guys that are workers. When you start, you didn't like go, oh, here's your workload for the day. And you go, I'm only going to do this much. No, you do as much as what needs to be done that day for your job. The next day, you're sore as fuck, but you kind of still do it because or else you'll be unemployed. The next day, and then all of a sudden, you're just used to it. So it's a real thing that people can talk about. Now, the difference is yes, if you contain on that thing, you will get an adaptive process where that's where these, fitness gurus try to talk about muscle confusion and all that stuff, which is all kind of pseudoscience bullshit. But the reality is, like Adam, why did Adam's bench press get so good? Because he was naturally genetically gifted at bench press, probably somewhat, but he liked bench pressing to the fact that he had to slow himself down. We end up being good at the exercises that we like doing. By default, I guarantee if your favorite gym exercise is not only the one you're strongest at, the one you're best at, it's the one you like doing the most. Now, I don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg, but it all makes sense when you look at the way someone's training. And so when you talk about there was a really long-winded question answered, but again, I want to make sure you never have me on again, King. You're like, fuck this guy. But the point is when you're talking about adding power, to like what you just said, well, it depends. If my kinetic chain, I can add all the power to this last link and it's fucking this thick and it's whatever. But this third link in is still not any stronger. It doesn't fucking matter. And this is why, in my opinion, we don't have people, the gym doesn't translate to the table. Do you understand? Because but when you're arm wrestling, realistically, you're kind of all doing the thing. The problem is you can't do progressive overload when you're arm wrestling. You can get better at staying there longer. And you can get people like Devin. Devin is really, his endurance is so good because he's got endurance holding weaker people. When Devin and Levon were going to arm wrestle, I remember telling everyone, you can go back on my show with Brandon Allen and I, Your Morning BJ. And I said, Devin will gas before Levon. Everyone thought I was crazy. He's got the most endurance for his strength. Mm-hmm. If I got 20 pounds, I can probably hold it all fucking day. My only got great endurance. Well, what happens if I do it 120 pounds? What happened to that endurance? I'm just not strong enough. And this is a thing where people don't understand. Arm wrestling is a weird sport though, where we goes from maximum power, explosiveness to if the match stops, now it becomes an endurance battle. But again, it only becomes an endurance battle if the strength gap is probably about 10% or so, maybe 15 at the most. Because a good arm wrestler like Ricky or, whatever, will be able to figure out where, and what he's doing is the same thing. He's doing what I'm saying. He's not out techniquing you. Yes, kind of. But what he's doing is he's looking for a weakness in that, I got it. There's the weakness. Yeah, okay. He's looking for that weakness in your chain. And so what I've tried to do is, because Sarah's background she was a ballerina since she's three, a ballerina. Since professional ballerina in a ballet company, toured through Europe,
Italy.
I was in a
ballet company when I was 8 years old. So I've technically been a professional, like a semi-pro ballerina since I was 8.
Yeah. And then moving into, she started doing jujitsu. So her grappling and everything like that, we would jujitsu, in the bedroom too. Yeah, I'm just making sure you're paying attention. But then she moved into doing her aerial stuff, circus stuff, silks, flying, hula hoop, or the lira, which is the hula hoop. And so you're literally, and when you're doing stuff like that, I didn't get into I got abs, shoulders, forearms from doing hand balancing. But I never was like, you know what I need? I need to get bigger shoulders. I'm going to go do hand balancing. Look at any male gymnast. Male gymnasts got insane biceps. They don't do bicep curls. They got insane shoulder development. You know why? Statics on the rings. The male bicep is not from it's from planching in this position. So, but what I'm saying is it's a byproduct of the thing you end up loving, as opposed to, I'm going to set my mind out to this. What did Ricky say? Perfect example. I love this. I love it. I can do this all the time. Well, why are you good at arm wrestling? Because you love it. You know, so it's one of those things that, and again, it makes our sport very difficult to train for, because I agree. I love arm wrestling. I could fucking arm wrestle every day and it's awesome. But to me, it's the thing I think that once you become a good arm wrestler, I'm not talking when you're new, arm wrestle as much as you can every day. Like you said, manage expectations, all that kind of stuff, manage your workload. Everything Ricky said, I agree with you 100%. But once you know how to arm wrestle, the only way you're going to close the gap to the next guy, the Oleg Moise, that this guy, that Adam Silver, when he becomes pro and not amateurs or semi-pro. But the only way you're going to close these gaps with these guys is to say, all right, now I got my kinetic chain done, and I'm going to part and parcel systematically power up my kinetic chain. And
that's what we're doing with me.
That's what we're doing. That's what
I was just going to say, it seems like that's a big separating factor for you, Sarah, from a lot of the other women in our sport.
Her power.
Yeah, my power. Because I have speed and strength, a lot of, even for the men, on both sides, a lot of men either have strength or they have speed. There's very few that have both. So what Jason is doing with me is he's making sure that I'm getting stronger, but then here and there, he'll be like, okay, now let me feel your hit. Because he wants to make sure that I still have my speed. Because most of the time, when you start with speed and you start adding strength in, you can lose that speed.
Yes.
And
I didn't think that
goes to your strength.
Yeah, I didn't think that could happen, but you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
Statics are the best thing for your strength, the worst thing for your movement and explosiveness.
Yeah.
So it's a real thing. There's a reason why Westside Barbell does a speed day or dynamic effort day. There's a reason for that. It's because they got to make sure. There's a reason that when a fighter goes in and he's doing his whatever, he still goes in with the bands and goes, yeah. The thing is, most people base their speed day off what they see Todd Hutchins doing. It's not right. It's not speed day. It's not speed day through Westside. I've taken courses with Louis Simmons. It's one of the things that's on my heart to do. The Joker always says, when you're good at something, never do it for free. But it's on my, but I do love educating people. I really do. I love helping people. I love, I do, and it's the main things that makes me an asshole, because I talk too fucking much, because I really want people to, you get it, Adam, I know. But I do. I really want people to be their best. I want my teammates to be their best. I want my wife, and of course we hold some things, and closer to the chest. But for the most part, I do try to tell people, I'm not lying. Here's what I do. It's this. Everyone knows. Well, how do you lose weight? Like, Adam, you're talking about your weight. You know what to do. It's fucking hard though. Just because you know what to do. If I ask any of you guys, do you know how to save money? Do you know how to save money? Fuck yeah, you do. You know how fucking hard it is? It's fucking hard. When you're 3 a.m. and you're high as shit, like we're like, dude, our budget. We're like, it's midnight on a Saturday and I'm calling DoorDash and it's $78 for chicken nuggets. That's not a good decision.
$78 for chicken nuggets.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We get a lot of chicken nuggets. But you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, the knowledge is, again, everyone's like, knowledge is power. No, applied knowledge is power. And so I'm always trying to go, hey, look, I will tell you everything I do. This is what I do. This is what I take. This is what I do. This is what I did. This, and it's like, all right, well, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to match the consistency or the effort or the whatever perceived effort, RPE, rate of perceived exertion. Sarah and I have an RPE with every training we do, and we do it in waves, So when her and I have our table time on Wednesdays, it is to do technical development. and you probably can answer this too, Ricky. Like when you get on the table with a brand new person, you know, you show the moves, you let them take your hand, you let them right, you show them the move. Then you take that guy and you put him, and this is the worst thing that can happen, two brand new arm wrestlers or two even amateur level, or let's say white belt arm wrestlers going against each other. If you're the head of your club, this should never happen. It's like two guys who don't know how to box go, here's a glove, figure it out. They're never going to be good, man. They're never. You have to have a high-level guy, low-level guy. This is who you put. But the low-level guy want to feel what it feels like to beat somebody.
Right.
I get it. I understand. But you're talking. What's more important? Like Todd Hutchins says, I quote him: "Are you chasing wins or are you chasing excellence?"
Right. At our practice,
You know, so-
when we got new guys that are trying to do that, you know, we typically try and separate them. But I personally like sometimes, as long as they look like they can be safe, you know, because they want the opportunity to kind of grip and rip, right?
Sure, of course, everyone. It's
As
great.
long as that's when I like to jump over there to give them that opportunity, but be their babysitter. You know what I mean?
But it, like I said, it's like jujitsu.
When it's not right, you know.
I have to allow her to put the technique on me. I have to let her put the locked up rear naked choke in. You know what it feels like to squeeze and tap. All right, now my turn. Pop, pop. Good. Let's repeat. It's drilling. You can drill every day. You cannot spar. I'm talking about fighting and arm wrestling, both. You can't keep sparring because you just can't. No, on sparring, you'll see the damage on your eyes, your bloody nose, your crooked, whatever. You can't see this. And if you see bluing or color on your arm, it's already way too late, man. You know, you're talking about a month of recovering. You know, dude, 2 weeks isn't enough time for a tendon to heal. Yet alone one that's been ruptured or you know, stress or whatever, you know. So like I said, I love arm wrestling. My biggest weakness, I'm pretty good at stepping out of the box and going, what's my biggest problem? My biggest problem is when I go against my own preaching. Like I arm wrestled way too much last Saturday. Way too much. I know I did. Shame on me. And I ordered that fucking Taco Bell on DoorDash the other day. Fuck, shame on me. But you know, it's, if we're able to hold ourselves accountable for those kind of things, you're going to see so many different things in your life, you know. But it's the hardest thing. We all know what to do, you know. But
yeah, I definitely agree on everything you said. Absolutely. But the thing is, there's a separation between the two types of pullers. I mean, everyone knows them. It's the guy that wants to be great, and then the guy that just wants to hang out with his buddies, have something to do on the weekends. And that is what the difference in training is. The guy that wants to hang out with his buddies, that's me. I'll say it all day. That's why I don't lift weights. I mean, I don't care if I win at a tournament. Hey, cool. The times I do lift are the times I do the best by far. So I absolutely agree with you. If I focus for one day and do like heavy lifting and, you know, let myself rest for a week, then, you know, take off some time and go back to the next practice, I feel like a monster. But like, what's my end goal? Like, my end goal is to, you know, give my kids a good life. It's not to become, you know, the next John Brzenk. But if you do want to be the next John Brzenk, absolutely. You cannot pull every day. It may be a little bit, but not really. You know, once a week, once every 2 weeks. And other than that, you're just constantly trying to raise up the numbers in the gym. Absolutely. That's all the elite level pullers do. I mean, yeah, you have one or two here or there that, you know, arm wrestle all the time, but those are just those randoms. But for the rest of everybody else, absolutely. Your plan, your method is the way to go if you want to keep doing better. If this isn't just hanging out with your boys.
Exactly. And you have to manage your, like I say, I told you this, Kane. I just want people to be happy, man. Happy people don't hurt people. Sad people hurt people, you know. And I do. I want everyone to be happy. I wish everyone the best, you know. Love me, hate me, I don't really care. I wish you the best, you know. And I you know, and like you said, but your version of happiness and my version may be totally different things. And then things evolve, you know. Like Ricky, if you and I were like buddies and you were my club buddy, the guy with the bottles, and, you know, bro, got a table on the dance floor Saturday night. You know, 6 years ago, I'm your fucking dude, man. I'm going to be there fucking making it rain. You asked me, say, dude, bro, I got a bottle. The same thing now. This right now, I'm like, bro, I'm going to. It's like 9:30. I'm like getting ready for bed. Now nothing's wrong. You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. We've just gone in slightly different directions. And and Sarah and I, we kind of feel this way about the sport as it is. That's a whole nother conversation. But but again, you got to do what makes you happy. And for me, it's kind of funny. With as serious I take my training, I have no desire to compete right now. I enjoy the journey and I don't even have a goal. I'm just on a journey, man. You know what I'm saying? And I enjoy. It's fun to me when I see that fucking PR number, 77 pounds for 10 seconds. Now I did it for 15. I enjoy that. I get more satisfaction from that than say, hey, I just beat so-and-so at a tournament, but that's me. That's just how I am. So, and the other people thrill up, dude, I love competing. I love the nerves. I get it. Like I said, dude, since I'm 18 years old, I've been having to prepare myself mentally to get on stage, be in front of the people, go on set, multiple shows a night, under the highest pressure environments. I don't get nervous from arm wrestling really, but it's like I put a pressure on myself that makes me get nervous from arm wrestling, if that makes sense. And so like I said, I don't want that extra stressor in my life right now. So I love the sport to hang out with guys like you guys are great dudes and, and watch my wife perform and just shoot the shit and talk. And I love that stuff. Like I said, I'm 47, man. I don't have children. But there's a part of me that really wants to pass on knowledge, and my cat's not as receptive as I'd like her to be. So,
Well, that's one
maybe,
very interesting
maybe I'll
thing.
adopt.
That's an interesting thing I find about the sport, and Ricky, earlier you did mention, people that like to hang out in the sport and people that are like taking it very, very serious. You're kind of an outlier in that, because when I think of somebody that just is doing the sport to hang out, like with the community, drink beers and practice or whatever, I think of the ones that are never showing up to compete. And they're not really putting in valuable practice. You just thoroughly enjoy the community as well. But those that don't compete and don't take practice too seriously, I think they're important for this sport, because that they're proof that this sport is more than just like, a couple of brutes trying to like see who's stronger or something like that. There's a lot to this community. It's one of my favorite communities that I've ever been a part of. So I find that important. We have Gabriel Young in the house saying what's up. He says, Ricky, when are we having a super match?
Oh,
Gabriel
man.
Young wants a super match with you.
Man, he's gonna end up like Adam, just all beat up and torn up and broken neck.
Oh, like surgeries and stuff. Oh boy.
You don't want it.
We got Casey Stevens in the house, who had a really cool match with Brandon Allen at that High Desert tournament. And he is in agreement, I believe, with you, Jason, and Ricky, in terms of if you're going to level up in this sport, you got to start stacking in some weight training. And the Schmo really thinks your opinion is valuable on this subject, Adam, with your strength background and coming back into the sport and everything like that. So we definitely value that. Jason, you actually made me realize why I suck in the gym by a few things that you were saying in relation to Adam, that he loves the bench press, so he's really good at the bench press, right? And yeah, I've been trying to make that jump, getting into the gym as much as I can. And you saying that makes me realize that, yeah, I'm not working on those weakest links enough. It's so fun to work on those things that you are strong at,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of a trap that I didn't notice. But am I doing bicep curls when I should be? No. Am I doing shoulders and chests? Like, not, just not enough,
Sure.
I'm doing all the things
proportionately,
Right.
I would imagine. And that's the thing. And like, I can tell when I grip up with you, your hand and wrist are very strong, but if I can take you push you under your shoulder, I can feel that I can negate all that, But here's the thing: it's a very easy fix, man. I mean, this is for you specifically, Kane. Even though there's other people watching or listening, but the reality is, the next time you go into the gym, that movement that you know that you need to do, you just got to do it first. Do it first, man. When you go, you're like going to the gym. The other thing is, what people don't get is they're like, they'll put like this thing where they're like, I got my gym time. You know what I mean? I got to go an hour, and if I'm there. Dude, your body's not like that. Think of your body like tanning. All working out is a response to a stimulus. That's all it is. If you tan and get super burnt, you lay outside. Now, Ricky, you're fucking Mexican. You can probably fucking lay in the sun all damn day, and you look awesome. Adams and me, we're fucking lighter, Kane, like you're in the middle, But even though I'm Italian, like if I sit out in the sun, like, too long, I'm red. And now imagine me just sitting out in the sun and just baking, and my skin's peeling, and then I go back out in the sun. That's what we're doing with our arms and stuff when we're overtraining per se. But the reality is, you can get a nice tan going 10 minutes here, to now 10 minutes of 3 o'clock, another 10 minutes before the sun goes down. And you don't need, especially with this general strength stuff, dude. That's why the best thing to do, have a little pull-up bar in your house, in the doorway, or have, your bicep, whatever. And it doesn't need to be like, you got to put an hour in a row, or it doesn't matter. No, it could be 2 sets. Done. 2 sets, you do some push-ups. Do some push-ups and weights on your back. Do some really slow push-ups. Whatever it takes. But it doesn't need to be this thing where it's like, I got gym time. Make it part of your day. You got a couple minutes a night, do the thing that you don't want to do. I always tell everyone, what's the most important exercise? The one you're not doing. And the best diet is the one you'll stick to. That's it. That's all. It's so simple. But it's not like this, like, oh my God, this is wisdom from Proverbs. Well, maybe. But you know what I'm saying? But the reality is, it's these little things that people do know, but don't do. So, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm fucking far from perfect, when it comes to, I know what diet I should be eating. I know when I go too much or, but when it comes to this general strength training, the best thing to do is, if that's the thing you don't like doing, make it something where you're like, in the evening, I'm just going to do this. And then this, or, in the morning, something where you just can't not do it. And then next thing you know, you'll be doing it all the time, because it's part of your day. So.
Definitely. Yeah. And I love those putting in small doses.
They work. They work.
Your post, Sarah, all the push-ups that you do at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
just do 10 an hour. So every hour I do 10 push-ups, and that ends up being 100 push-ups in one day.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then it ends up being 300 push-ups a week. So it's not that I'm straining myself to do 100 push-ups all at once. I'm giving myself and my body the ability to recoup and get my energy back. So the next hour, I can do another 10 push-ups. So I'm not straining my muscles or straining my back or my hands or my arms or anything to be able to get multiple push-ups out. It's the same thing. I do the same thing with pull-ups.
Pull-ups,
yeah.
I do the same exact thing with pull-ups. Every hour, like for my 10-hour days, I go to 6 hours. My first 6 hours, I do 3 pull-ups. My last 4, I do as many as I can do per hour. So if I do 5 pull-ups my last 4, that's fine. If I do 2 pull-ups my last 4, that's fine. Just the fact that I keep my body moving and I keep doing the pull-ups without even thinking about it and letting my body recuperate from the hour before, I'm able to get more pull-ups in.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's the problem is, like, when like pull-ups or chin-ups or things that a lot of people, when I used to train people, one of my things was in my roles in the circus and was training people how to do pull-ups. And the thing is, there were some guys who would be like, oh, dude, you got to max out, whatever. My approach was completely different. And again, a great person trained me, a Russian athlete trained me how to do pull-ups. He could do unlimited pull-ups. What the fuck? How do you do it? He was like, you never go to any kind of strain, kind of what Ricky was saying. So when you're doing chin-ups, like what I basically had Sarah do I'm like, how many can you do before you have to like try?
what I did for my setup for Rebecca.
Yeah, for her setup for Rebecca, I was like, how many
I
do
was
we have to
doing
do? Because we had no idea how strong Rebecca was going to be. We did know what happened was, I haven't told a lot of people about this. We have footage of it, but Jody Larrett and Devin came specifically to help. Jody came specifically to help Sarah for her match. And, everyone was talking about Jody against Rebecca, and Rebecca was like, Jody will kill me. I don't even want whatever. And so we had no idea. I said, Sarah, we're going to know when we grip up with Jody. I know we're going to get a lot of data. And Sarah and Jody gripped up, and it was like, oh shit. And Jody was like, dude, you're fucking cock diesel strong, girl.
And diesel strong. And I was like, that's the most amazing.
Yeah. And we were like, we were real confident going in. Then we were really confident after that, because Sarah literally just did this to Jody, and so we were real confident. And then, but the thing was, going back to what you're saying, leading up to it, the pull-ups she was like, I'm like 4. I was like, cool, we're going to do 1. Really? 1 pull-up. Walk away. Next hour, 1 pull-up. The following week, turned to 2. By the end of it, 6 weeks or so later, she's repping every hour. She's repping 6 pull-ups.
I got to, during my 10-hour days, I was doing 6 pull-ups, and then the last 2 hours, I was doing 8 per hour.
Yeah, so look at how many pull-ups that is in a day. 50, 80 pull-ups in a day.
Yeah.
But it started with 1 an hour.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, because what people don't realize, Adam, I'm sure you attest to this. A lot of your beginning strength is coordination.
Yeah.
Right. I was going to say
it's coordination.
Yeah.
It's central nervous system. Your nervous system coordination. And so that's why when you first start benching, you go from like, dude, oh my God, like I went from 130, going from 135 to 225 is way fucking easier than going from 500 to 505.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Right. I mean, and it's only 5 pounds, but you're talking about maximum threshold, your body's threshold. But initially, what we're just trying to do is just coordinate ourselves with no recovery. It's not damaging our central nervous system, and it's not putting any damage on our recovery time. So, and we use this kind of, without getting secret stuff, but we use the same approach for Sarah's training, because I'm strong enough where I can't feel her, but I can know where to spot her to put more power in, and she doesn't even know what I'm doing, because she feels the same motion. But what I'm really doing is doing like 8 pounds or 20 pounds of pressure, 21 pounds of pressure, 21 pounds, 22 pounds. That's what she's doing without knowing it. And so when she goes to everything at once, she has substantially added to her power. Because again, we're talking about 4 times mass time acceleration. So it's not just how much she can lift, it's how much she can lift intact in the quickest time possible, and that's what our focus is when we're training like that, when she's peaking for like a super match or something like that.
A lot of training, especially when it comes to like a super match or like peaking for a tournament or something, a lot of our training is mathematical.
It's all mathematical.
So
everything
for us, everything is mathematical. Everything comes down to, what your PR is, what your RPI is that?
RPE, rate of perceived exertion.
Tracking.
So
everything.
we figure out everything. Like my focus is to do everything mathematically so that I can track mathematically if I'm getting stronger or not. It's the same. I'm sure you've done it before too, Adam, with like West Side barbell training. That's exactly what they do. Everything is mathematical. Everything, has a reason as to why you're doing it. And a lot of people just kind of go to the gym and they train.
They exercise.
They exercise. So
most people go to the gym and exercise.
They don't know how to train.
And real quick, the complete idiot's guide to what's the difference between training and exercising. Exercising is doing what you want to do. Training is what you need to do. That's it. And so if you know what to train, well, then you have a purpose. We come into the gym with a purpose. I mean, I don't know how many people I go, hey, what's your max bench? I don't know. What's your max curl? I don't know. Well, you don't know anything then. So what are you doing? It's Sesame Street working out. The 1, the 2, 3 reps. And they don't know why they're doing those 3 reps. I guarantee when Adam we were peaking, you knew this day what percentage of the gym you were lifting. Did you not?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Because it's not haphazard. Just like Louis Simmons, a great quote, because he says, Intensity is not a feeling, it's a mathematical equation. Because I'll tell you this, if I'm hungover, which I don't really drink, right? But if you're hungover on 4 hours sleep, everything feels really hard. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean I was training hard. Getting up out of bed is hard. Putting my socks on, dude, sometimes as you're older, it feels like Louis C.K. says, it feels like I'm folding a bowling ball in half. It's the hardest thing I do all day. But I can't use that as a equation to, was I training hard that day? I have to look at my numbers in my sheet. That tells me if I was training hard. And if those numbers didn't go up, it's not because I'm not training enough. It's probably because I was training too much, So,
Yeah, it's such a complicated issue, that's, I feel like for arm wrestlers, it's a necessity to make that step up. You got to track those numbers in the gym and get stronger. And Sarah, with the speed training, I find a big difference between explosiveness and speed. And it sounds like you're more of explosiveness. And the way I define that is the access to your full strength, how quickly you can access that. There's a lot of tricky fast pullers out there that they're fast, but they're not really accessing a lot of strength. So that's a much trickier thing to be explosive. It is so complicated because you need to add these different things to make that step up. But if there was just one exercise or maybe two that I could pick that I feel relate to arm wrestling the most, it would probably be pull-ups. I think push-ups are great too, but both of them seem to involve a lot of muscle synergy and coordination, which if you're arm wrestling correctly, you're doing, you're bringing in your core, you're incorporating your large muscle groups and all these things. And I do the same thing at work, Sarah. If I see like a deck substructure, I'll go climb it and start doing pull-ups on a beam or something.
And this is a thing too that I always tell people. One of the things that I also do for speed is push-ups. And I know that kind of sounds a little bit weird. But what I do is, the
slingshots.
The slingshots. Adam, you know what a slingshot is, yeah?
For bench pressing.
For bench pressing. So I actually use that when I do pull-ups.
Push-ups.
Push-ups. So I will put the slingshot so it's across my chest. So instead of doing full pull-ups, what I'm doing is I'm doing half or push-ups. Sorry, I keep saying pull-ups.
It's late.
When I'm doing them, I'm almost doing half push-ups. So I'm literally just doing this. And what it does is it activates my fast twitch muscles.
Oh, do you ever do? I'm sorry, go ahead.
When you're arm wrestling, I'm literally thinking about that slingshot pulling my arm down. So I'm getting that exact feeling where I can also activate my lats quickly. So when I'm doing the push-ups with the slingshot, it also activates my lats and it basically trains them to fire off quick instead of slow. So that's one of the biggest, and that's how I also teach people how to do push-ups. I give them the slingshot so that they can use it to do the entire movement. And that's one of the big things that I use.
Because even with a push-up, if there's weakness in your abs, your kinetic chain, you're gonna hollow forward. Your body's gonna do this. If you go you could try to counter it by doing this. Then it's putting an unnatural. It's putting an unnatural torque on your shoulders and stuff at that point. So, one thing that too, like again, as a martial artist, like what I always tell people is when you're punching, when you throw a punch, your power comes from your legs, right? Your power comes from your legs when you're throwing a punch. Look at some of the greatest boxers of all time. Mike Tyson is, you watch the way, from his leg and hips, and it's the last thing that goes. It's your leg, your feet, your hips, and then your punch. Arm wrestling, I think of it as the exact same thing, but it's the complete opposite. it starts with your fingers. So when I'm gripping, most of the time, and like when I grab everyone in practice, I just sit and I did go whatever. My grip when I'm actually arm wrestling is very, very loose because I'm starting with my fingertips into my wrist, into my shoulder, finally into my legs. So this motion, this is the most important thing when I'm. And so Sarah and I go just a hand, just a hand and wrist, hand and wrist, shoulders, bicep, hand and wrist, shoulder, and that's what we do. And it's breathing. When it's like a Kia, when you're punching, so when I'm sitting there and I have Sarah firing off on me or vice versa, I go, ready up, ready to go. And I want her to go, like that. And I want her to hum everything and super fast. And even at 47, I know I'm still really, when I was 26, I'm fucking still, bro, I was so fucking fat. In the bedroom, I'm talking about, not on the table. I'm really slow both now. But it's something that we think about. And the other thing too is like, is our mind muscle connection. When we're in the gym, I'm picturing my opponent's hand. I'm pronating or whatever. When I'm in the table, I'm picturing the gym equipment. Yeah. I know it sounds so, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. What do you really?
Actually didn't.
Sarah never did. I was like, really?
I was training with, we have a coach, and I was training with the coach for months. And Jason was like, wait, you don't think about arm wrestling when you're training? I was like, no.
I was like, what the fuck are you thinking about then? I was like, when I'm lifting that belt, when I got the belt or the egg or the dildo, whatever it is in my hand, and I'm cranking that thing, you know what I'm saying now. But I'm saying a lot of our shit looks like sex toys. You know what I mean? A lot of the arm wrestling.
It's weird. It's weird.
Let's just call a spade a spade.
That weird guy in a gym,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. When they see that Mazurenko egg, hanging from a thing, people are like, "How's that for?" I was like, "Bend over, I'll show you." But when I'm taking that egg and I'm, then when I'm holding the person's hand, I'm just picturing the egg, and and because it's really funny, man. Do it the next time you go to the gym, and vice versa, table gym table. See, man, and that's another simple thing that a lot of people don't do, that why their lifts in the gym aren't translating to the table and vice versa. It's simply a mind muscle connection and understanding it's that. Guaranteed probably you're doing it right in the gym and then you get on the table, or vice versa. You may be doing it wrong in the gym or whatever. When you're doing them both right, that guarantee they translate. But it's just a little tidbit, again, I don't know if I'm saying something that, dude, dumbass, yeah, we all do that, or oh shit, that's actually pretty cool. So I
think also for me as well, when it comes to why I'm so fast, I grew up as a ballerina. So from age 3, I have been training my central nervous system and my fast twitch muscles to activate very quick. And I actually think one of the reasons why Michael Todd is such an amazing arm wrestler and athlete is because he also focused on the central nervous system when it comes to training. He does the box jumps. He does like different things that get his fast twitch muscles. He's peak as you can get when it comes to athleticism because of the way he trains. Another person that I'd like to point out when it comes to the fast twitch muscles on the table, Giannis. Pay attention to how Giannis pulls. Ongabaya. The first thing that they do is that snap. Mm-hmm. They snap you into place. And the reason for that is because it's pulling the person off of their center. And what they're doing is they're activating that central nervous system as quickly as possible.
Especially with no load.
With the no load. And that's what I've gotten into as well. When people feel my setup at a tournament, they're like, I don't know how to pull you. Because I want to be able to snap them down into place. And a lot of people
Well, especially very much, and I hate to say like American versus, whatever again, but we lived overseas for 10 years. I got to train with the guys from Kazakhstan, and when I came back into the sport, I was overseas, and so I was, like I said, out of the sport for 17 years, and when I remember, give me your hand, like two guys, back pressure, and okay, ready and go. And then I grab up with some of these guys like from Russia, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Singapore, and they're like this. And I'm like, how do you load? How do you load into that? You can't, but there's just like a punch. There's no way you can punch somebody hard with a tight arm. You cannot access your full power. You're gonna, whatever. But when you punch, it's got everything's super light, super like, and it's right before the contact down, everything. Boom. That's why you want to just be light and then snap. Same in arm wrestling. I want to be light and then all of a sudden it's nothing to everything. But it's a very difficult thing for a lot of people to do because you don't necessarily feel strong. And you know what I mean? You don't feel strong.
And I feel like that's why when you watch East versus West, most of the time the East are winning because of the way that they train, because they focus on the technique, before
it's gym oriented too.
And then they get to the gym oriented, adding the gym in. But the first 4 years of arm wrestling over there, you're on the table. You're not focusing on your strength. You're literally focusing
learning how to arm wrestle
on the technique,
with zero resistance.
How to doing no load into everything. The way that they train is so smart and so methodical in the way that they train. They are creating champions. That's what they're doing.
Especially that Kazakhstan, that school over there and everything like that.
Champions over there. And I'm not saying we're not creating champions over here, but it's different. Their mindset is that, and that's it. That's literally all they're doing.
Right. Training to win. Yeah. And to me, that's kind of what it comes down to. I think a lot of us here, when we train, it's kind of the enjoyment of that sadistic grind, but it's not exactly the path to winning. There's some strength and endurance things that kind of come from it, but it's not exactly the the science path to win in competition and in super matches. I'm curious, Adam, you're this gnarly bench presser, right? What has that transitioned over for you? Because you're incredibly strong on the table too. Do you feel like you're using a lot of fly or tricep or something in terms of your strengths in the gym? How would you translate?
So my strengths in the gym have changed a lot because I haven't really been training very much because of these injuries that I've had, the torn shoulder and everything. And so I am training, I'm doing bench presses and stuff like that, but it's close grip bench press. I can't really, I don't know how far I can push my shoulder, with my issues. So I can do 2 plates, not too bad, but I can only get maybe 8 reps right now. We'll see how it progresses up. But in terms of it, translating on the table, I still feel like when I was younger, I feel like I had more power, especially inside, but I feel like that power is coming back, even though I'm not the big bench presser I used to be. I feel like I could still do pretty good inside. People are starting to tell me oh, they feel it pretty good. And yeah, I mean, I was basically smashing Jason constantly the other day, just destroying him. And he couldn't stop me. And I'm amazing.
I couldn't.
But no.
and then we arm wrestled. Yeah, he was smashing the insides. Oh wait, never mind. I totally. Right. Okay, right. So sorry. I thought you were talking about the after party at the Hilton.
Yeah,
Adam is a fucking beast.
Yeah, from my end of the table when we practice, Adam. Yeah, the biggest things that I feel in terms of where I'm finding your stronger chains. I do feel a lot of lat, and I do feel a lot of the across the table, a lot of chest fly.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that probably stand out to me the most.
Yeah. But my hand, I got to work on that.
It's good. It's good, but
Yeah.
you're kind of new to the sport, so that's expected that you're gonna work on that top of the chain.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
wait, Adam,
for
is
sure.
your benches is simply because of your left? Like theoretically, if your left felt as good as your right, would you think you'd be able to like lift like normal or like you used to?
There's two issues. One is the nerve damage that I had originally from my original injury back in like 96. The right triceps still hasn't like 100% recovered. So it's like a smaller triceps than it was. It's still not too bad strength wise, but then my left shoulder, because of the actual muscle pulling from the bone, the infraspinatus muscle, which is one of the rotator cuff muscles.
Yeah, right.
That causes an issue, I believe. Like I can't properly do like supinated biceps curls. Very heavy. That's probably also the nerve damage involved. So it's like a chain in there that's an issue. So if that was fixed and my right triceps was functioning, I could be a big bencher again for sure. Because my chest is okay.
What about because everyone's getting these stem cells now and everything like that? Is that something you've considered, or is that an option? Or
I've considered it. It wouldn't really help my shoulder issue because that I think also needs. I have a bit of frozen shoulder, so I don't have good rotation, external rotation. Not just because of the infraspinatus muscle not functioning properly, but also I think the capsule tightened up. So it needs to be opened up. I could get a surgery for that. And they can open it up and I can then really kind of move it. But I don't know whether I want to do that right now.
Yeah.
I'm old. I'm 52. So
yeah.
Now this
and
is
it gets harder.
Yeah, this is just a curiosity. I'm not saying that it's advice or anything, Adam, but I feel like a lot of what Sarah was saying earlier in terms of training to position with speed, I could see that helping you, watching you compete, because for you a lot of times it seems to be just getting your position. When you can get locked in there, and when the
I'm trying to figure that out
is first, you're kind of a little bit out here, right?
I am. Yeah,
you're so strong, like here. There's
in there.
kind of the point of no return. So yeah, I'm wondering if you did do some of that training that she's talking about, where it's just.
I absolutely 100% need that, and I was talking with Derek about that last training, that I need to be able to get in here really quick, especially against somebody that's a good top roller, somebody that has a lot of good pronation. If I get in there, I can hold their pronation off even, but sometimes I can't get in there. You know what I mean? Did I just do a little?
Gonna say, Adam, when you and I were like first, when you and I were like warming up first, like before the tournament, as opposed to like when afterwards, when you were like doing that and then arm wrestling from there. And I'm being okay. I'm always joking around and everything like that, but I'm actually being serious. What I couldn't tell was, I'm like, was it me being tired or because I was pulling a bunch of people, or I'm like, oh, are you really good once you get there, or both?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It definitely felt like, because even watching you pull that other gentleman, he was like kind of buff. And
I'll tell you this
afterwards. Yeah. Afterwards, I was like,
I'll tell you what's happened. Yes. So I'll tell you what happened is that, so what Jason's basically saying is that I was way better after the tournament than I was before the tournament. So I was messing around with Jason just a little bit before the tournament. Now, in my head, I just had this huge practice on Thursday. I'm going to have a rough time here. Jason wanted to like mess around with me, and I wasn't pushing too much because I wanted to make sure that I was okay for the tournament. So I wasn't really like trying to jam in, really hard or anything like that. So then I have the tournament. And my first guy is this guy, Chris, that is really big. His hand is monstrous, thick and big, and long arms, and he's just jacked too. Yeah, it scares me. That scares me, So I'm like, what do I do? Do I try to, escape and get into the straps, or do I try to hook them? And I think too much. And so I psyched myself out. We got into the straps, but then he did take me down. And it was a total psych out. Then I beat some other guy my usual way. But then against Chris again, I was like, you know what? I was working with Voskian at Mendy's gym, and he's like, you should try using a platform. So I messed around with the platform with him, kind of got used to it. But then when I did the platform, against this guy, Chris, my setup wasn't right, and he actually got the jump on me, so I didn't even get a chance to really do anything that match. So he kind of almost flash pinned me. But then after the match, we did after pulling. I got to actually grip up with him, and there was no pressure on me. And first we went into a hook together. I said, hey, I just want to feel like your hook. And I think he thought that he was going to really take me down. So I pulled him, I beat him pretty easy. The second time, he really tries as hard as he can, and I pull him down pretty easy. Then we kind of get into, I tried a real match with him, and I could get in on his wrist and everything, like, fuck. And then with Jason, maybe he was a little tired. He was pulling some people, but I was taking Jason down pretty good. And I wasn't sure whether I could, because if his back pressure is hard enough and, I can't get my supination in, then, he'll take my arm down. But I destroyed him. He was nothing.
Yeah, it was really, well, again, my mom always told me to respect your elders and the amateurs. So there's a lot of factors, man. And,
right.
And you drive all this way. I mean, like, shit, and I'm trying to get a job with you, man. I'm not going to beat you up. And then, you call that fucking Australian dude some, you know what I mean?
So, you probably didn't know. I like to be dominated. So if you want the job.
Oh, shit. Well, fuck.
Yes, man. I like that.
Damn. All right. Well, shit. Next time, I'm going to be, it's going to be a whole new night. You're going to wake up sweating. Oh, just jump pronation.
Oh, boy.
You pronation, supination.
What happened to this conversation?
Conversation, all the Asians.
Right. Asians. Yeah, exactly.
All the Asians. Yeah. You
I
gotta
think
train them all.
a lot of the reason why I think most of us love practice pulling is because there's a lot more of testing of strength in practice pulling. Competition's different. There's a lot of exploitation. There's sometimes it's just a matter of who's got the edge in terms of competing. Some people are better at competition, the mental factor of it too. Mm-hmm. But when it's in a practice setting, when you grip up with somebody, I feel like oftentimes the tendency is to explore, in your opponent, and you can really kind of see where you're at with those. But that's also, I feel like, the reason why any amateurs will just, new arm wrestlers that go to practice but are scared to go compete, you're never gonna figure out how to compete.
Yeah, exactly.
If they think like, oh, I need to get strong enough or good enough at arm wrestling before I go amateur competition or like a novice competition. No, just go, and who cares if you win or lose? Right. It's different. It's just so different.
Mm-hmm.
My second tournament that I ever did was in Hawthorne, and I was thrown into the pro class because it was me as an amateur, and that was it.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So my second tournament, they just threw me in with the other women, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what you have to do in this sport. Like, sure, do your few amateur tournaments if they have them. But, I mean, you got to just throw yourself in there, because you're never going to feel what an actual pro or semi-pro feels like if you don't put yourself into that situation.
It's like sometimes I was going to say, for me, it's like, it's interesting because I think my mentality is so different when I'm practice pulling with people. I know where I'm at. I think, you know what I mean? I have a pretty good idea. I'm like, I don't think I'm better than this guy. That guy will probably still beat me. But anytime I get to a practice with anybody, even if something new, like I never really gripped up with Adam. I hadn't gripped up with Ricky in a long time or whatever, like I'm spending over a year, I'd imagine. But when I grip up with anybody, and not just you guys, but when I grip with anybody, I always let them go first. And I say, go ahead. And because what I'm trying to do in practice is see where I'm vulnerable. I want to see where somebody can beat me at. I don't want to show someone how strong I am. I know where the lanes I'm good at. So I want to see with every different arm, whether a short inside guy like Adam or a guy like Ricky, who's versatile with a bigger hand, or a long lever guy like you, Kane. I always want to see what style can beat me? What style am I susceptible to? And I never hit back with anybody. I never really do anything like that. And I'll tell you though, it's again, when I say I like to analyze myself, what makes me good or bad, it's also the thing that's very much hurts me when I go to compete, because with my teammates, I'm always the one allowing them to go. I get them go first, something like that. And I always say, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice doesn't make perfect. Practice simply builds habits. So if my habit is to allow someone else to go first, well, it's very difficult to, on the day of the tournament, to go, all right, flip that all, I'm going to kill you. It's something that my last tournament in Arizona, I competed. Now, granted, I cut 20 pounds in 3 days. I was doing the commentating as well and everything like that. And I hate saying these things because they sound like excuses, but the reality was, but it's true. No, it's true. But they do, and they are. There's no way around it. No, and rightfully so. I never take anyone. Hey, when you beat me, you were better than me that day. But I'll tell you, man, what hurt me is getting up to the table with somebody I know I dominate every time I practice with them. They're nothing to me, and then going, okay, cool, and this person's psyched up and ready to go, and I can't duplicate it. I'm like, fuck, damn it. I'm okay, you got me. And it's something that this is another reason I don't want to compete right now, because until I know I polish that or address this issue with my own self, with the way I train, with the way I practice with my teammates, until I'm able to address that issue, I don't feel any version of me that will compete will be my best. But, and again, that's just me analyzing myself and everything like that. I want to make sure, when, like a fighter, just like, takes time away, and I'm like, I want to deal with these demons, or whatever you call them, and come back and be a better version of myself, So, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. It's for those reasons that there's like 2 individuals that I love making sure I get table time with at a practice, Mike Brown and Justin Webb. And it hurts like after pulling them. But all the rest of the practice is kind of like what you're talking about. You're not like hitting, you're working on, getting stronger and finding where you're weak. But yeah, those guys, they're just nuts, like on the table.
Yeah, they both are.
Okay,
nuts.
so here's our 10 minutes. Let's go crazy. It feels a little more like competition.
Yeah,
but,
I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah, yeah, it hurts, man. We've been on for a little while now, and I think we had some really good conversation on this topic. And just real quick, hello, Alan Fishman. He just popped in at the last minute. Thanks for popping in. It's good to see you, Big Alan. So yeah, let's wrap this up. I'm ready to have some dinner, and I'm just really glad to have all of you on and take the time. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
It's fun as always.
Fuck you. It's so past my bedtime.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone in the chat and anybody that's tuning in. And yeah, Adam, I just got to ask you one thing. So you run this, like, you are YouTube. You run this massive channel. What is it like to grace us with your presence on this tiny little channel?
In this little channel, you guys are little peons. No,
yeah, man.
I'm open to doing whatever. I'm a pretty easygoing guy. Larry and I have built up, nearly 3 million subscribers on the channel. And I think you have like 10 subscribers.
Yeah,
but
probably
not. But I don't care. I enjoy helping other people out if I can. If this was Larry on here, of course, it would be a lot bigger deal. Just little old me. So, and we only advertised it for like a few hours, really. So, but yeah, I mean, I like to work with other channels and help them out. So it was cool. I appreciate the invite.
Amazing. Yeah. Thanks for taking the time. It's
of course
very, very awesome. All right, you guys have a great night. Get some rest, and
Real quick, dude. I was gonna say our goal is Sarah and I goal. We definitely want to come out to get one out to the Alpha Empire practices. We miss Derek and all those guys.
Yeah.
And like I said, we were there in at San Diego, and I was riding with Brandon, and Brandon was like, "I'm leaving right after our match," and I was like, "Well, okay." And I thought he was I thought he was talking facetiously, but we left him literally. He was like, round 3, they were in the truck. I was like, "Oh shit," So we definitely like to stay and hang out and everything like that. So we'll definitely be driving our own car and coming ourselves and everything like that. So that'll be great.
To see Larry's gym as well. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Oh yeah,
I'm excited for that.
And you guys always have an open invitation to come to Vegas. There's shit to do here other than arm wrestling, so you guys should check it out.
Really?
Yeah.
I know, right?
It's weird, stupid. Yeah. There's like stuff to do and stuff. Yeah, it's really boring. There's some really it sucks. There's stuff too.
I'll be messaging you guys because if you do want to come out to an Alpha Empire practice,
yes, we do 100%.
Yeah, this coming Sunday is gonna more than likely be a special practice. I'll let you guys know. I still need to confirm things with Derek, but it's going to be a good one at a really cool location.
All right. Yeah, we're not into all that shit. We just want to come hang out with the bare bones, you guys and shit. Adam's as big a celebrity as I like to hang out with. Anything more than that, I'm like, I'd rather. Right. I don't feel like dealing with that shit. I like dealing with you guys. I don't need anyone special. But no, we just want to come out and this week definitely not. We won't be able to. But before Monster Factory, which is December 2nd.
December 2nd.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. Be down there for that.
I'm trying to get time off as well to be a down ref for the tournament
with the compounds. Yeah, that's our goal. So we're trying to finagle that we
just
can.
Because I got approved for that now, so I'm able to be a down ref if like any tournaments need a down ref. So.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Pretty cool. Awesome.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you guys for having us on, Kane. We appreciate you seriously.
Yes. Glad to be a part of this.
All right.
Keep up all your
Adam,
Asians.
Sarah, and Jason. Have a lovely night. Thanks again.
All right, buddy.
Guys.